The BMW lurches into the handicapped spot, and the woman in the wheelchair watches helplessly. What happens 60 seconds later will be captured by security cameras and change both their lives forever. Before we dive in, drop a comment and let us know where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. If you enjoy stories like this, be sure to like the video, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and share it with someone who'd love it too. Andrea Morrison circles the parking lot for the third time. She's running late. Doctor's appointment in 10 minutes. She needs a handicapped spot. She has the placard. She has the legal right. But the lot is packed. Finally, she sees someone pulling out of an accessible spot near the entrance. Andrea activates her turn signal, waits patiently. The car backs out. The spot is clear. And Andrea begins to pull forward. That's when the black BMW appears from nowhere. It cuts directly in front of Andrea's van, speeds into the handicapped spot. Andrea hits her horn, long and loud. The BMW driver doesn't care. The door opens, and Veronica Laurent steps out. Designer handbag, perfect hair, sunglasses that cost more than most people's rent. No disability placard, no wheelchair, not even a limp. She's perfectly healthy and parked in a spot reserved for people who aren't. Andrea rolls down her window. "Excuse me, that's a handicapped spot." Veronica glances over. "I'll only be a minute." "I have a placard," Andrea says, holding it up. "I was waiting for that spot." "Well, I got here first," Veronica says with a shrug. "You cut me off," Andrea says. "I was clearly waiting." "Life's not fair," Veronica interrupts. She checks her reflection in her phone screen. "Maybe get here earlier next time." Andrea feels her face flush. "I am disabled. I need that spot." Veronica looks at Andrea's wheelchair visible through the van window. "Looks like you're already sitting down," Veronica says. "So, what's the problem?" The cruelty is stunning, casual, deliberate. "The problem is you're breaking the law," Andrea says. "That spot is reserved for people who need it, I know," Veronica says. "And I need it. I have Pilates in 5 minutes. I can't be late." "Pilates?" Andrea's voice rises. "I have a medical appointment." "Everyone has somewhere to be," Veronica says, walking toward the building. Andrea grabs her phone, takes a photo of the BMW, the license plate, the empty spot where a placard should be. "I'm reporting you," Andrea calls after her. Do what you want," Veronica says without turning around. Andrea sits in her van, shaking, not from her condition, from anger. She's dealt with this before, people who think handicapped spots are just convenient parking. But this woman was different, so entitled, so cruel. Andrea finds another spot, 3 rows back, further from the entrance. It takes her 15 minutes to get her wheelchair out, navigate the crowded lot, reach the medical building. She's late for her appointment, has to reschedule. The receptionist is kind, apologetic, but firm. "We can get you in next week." Next week. 7 more days of pain because someone couldn't be bothered to follow the rules. Andrea wheels back to her van, defeated, exhausted. That's when she sees it. A crowd gathering around the black BMW security guards, police, an ambulance. And Andrea wheels closer, curious despite herself. The BMW's driver's door is wide open. Veronica is on the ground, surrounded by paramedics. She's conscious, but crying, holding her ankle. "What happened?" Andrea asks a bystander. "She came running out of the gym," the woman says. "Wasn't watching where she was going. Stepped off the curb wrong, rolled her ankle bad." Andrea watches as paramedics examine Veronica's leg. "Looks like a serious sprain," one says. "Possibly fractured. We need to get you to the hospital." "I can't go to the hospital," Veronica sobs. "I have meetings. I have appointments." "Ma'am, you need medical attention," the paramedic says firmly. A police officer approaches. looks at the BMW in the handicapped spot. "This your vehicle?" he asks Veronica. Veronica nods, wincing. "You have a disabled placard?" the officer asks. Veronica's face goes pale. I was only here for a few minutes." "That's not what I asked," the officer says. "Do you have authorization to park in a handicapped spot?" "No, but—" "Ma'am, that's a $350 fine," the officer says. He pulls out his citation book. "You can't be serious," Veronica says. "I'm injured." "And now you understand why these spots exist," the officer says without sympathy. He writes the ticket, hands it to her. Veronica stares at it in disbelief. "Your car is also being towed," the officer adds. "It's illegally parked." "Towed?" Veronica's voice is shrill. "How am I supposed to get home?" "The ambulance will take you to the hospital," the paramedic says. "After that, you'll need to arrange your own transportation." They load Veronica onto a stretcher. She's crying, humiliated, in pain. The tow truck arrives, starts hooking up the BMW. Andrea watches the entire thing. She should feel satisfaction, vindication, karma served cold. Instead, she feels something else, pity. The paramedics load Veronica into the ambulance. Before the doors close, Andrea wheels forward. "Wait!" she calls. The paramedics pause. Andrea wheels up to the stretcher, looks at Veronica. Veronica recognizes her. Shame floods her face. "I'm so sorry," Veronica whispers. "I was so rude to you. I'm so sorry." Andrea could walk away, could let her suffer, would be justified. Instead, she reaches into her bag. "What hospital are they taking you to?" Andrea asks. "St. Mary's," the paramedic answers. Andrea pulls out a business card, hands it to Veronica. "I'm a physical therapist," Andrea says. "I specialize in mobility injuries. Call me when you're ready to start rehab." Veronica stares at the card, tears streaming down her face. "Why would you help me?" she asks. "After what I did?" "Because I know what it's like to need help," Andrea says simply. "And I know what it's like when people refuse to give it." The ambulance doors close. Andrea wheels back to her van. The crowd disperses. The tow truck leaves with the BMW. The handicapped spot is empty now. Andrea could park there. It's available. She has the right. But her appointment is already rescheduled. She doesn't need it anymore. She drives home instead. 3 days later, Andrea's phone rings. Unknown number. "Hello?" Andrea answers. "Hi, this is Veronica Laurent. From the parking lot?" Andrea recognizes the voice. "Yes. How are you?" "I have a fractured ankle," Veronica says. I'm in a walking boot for 6 weeks, using crutches." "I'm sorry to hear that," Andrea says. "No, you're not," Veronica says. "And I don't blame you. I was horrible to you." Andrea doesn't disagree. "I called because I need help," Veronica continues. "My regular physical therapist can't fit me in for 3 weeks. I'm in pain. I can barely walk, and I remembered your card." "I have an opening tomorrow at 2, Andrea says. "Can you make it?" "Yes," Veronica says quickly. "Thank you. Really? Thank you." The next day, Veronica arrives at Andrea's clinic. She's using crutches, struggling with the door. Andrea watches her fumble, sees the frustration on her face, the same frustration Andrea feels every day. "Let me help," Andrea says, opening the door. Veronica hobbles through. "Thank you." They go to the treatment room. I've never used crutches before," Veronica admits. "I had no idea how hard this is." "It's an adjustment," Andrea says. "How do you do this every day?" Veronica asks, gesturing at Andrea's wheelchair. "Practice," Andrea says, "and acceptance." Over the next hour, Andrea works with Veronica, teaches her exercises, proper crutch technique, pain management strategies. Veronica is a terrible patient, impatient, frustrated, wants instant results. This is taking forever, Veronica complains. Healing takes time, Andrea says, calmly. I don't have time, Veronica says. I have a business to run, meetings to attend. I can't be hobbling around on crutches for weeks. You don't have a choice, Andrea says. Veronica's eyes flash with anger, then fill with tears. I hate this, she whispers. I hate feeling helpless. I know, Andrea says quietly. No, you don't, Veronica says. You're used to this. I'm not. Andrea's expression hardens. You think I'm used to it? Veronica realizes her mistake. I didn't mean... I was a dancer, Andrea says. Professional ballet. I was going to join a company in New York. Then I had a car accident, spinal injury. I woke up paralyzed from the waist down. Veronica goes silent. I spent 2 years in physical therapy, Andrea continues. Learning to do everything differently. Learning to accept help. Learning to live in a world that wasn't designed for me. I'm so sorry, Veronica whispers. I don't want your pity, Andrea says. I want you to understand. Disability isn't just inconvenient. It's exhausting. It's being treated like you don't matter. Like you're taking up space that belongs to normal people. Veronica's face crumbles. Like I treated you? Yes, Andrea says. Like you treated me. Veronica covers her face with her hands, sobs. I'm so ashamed, she says. I've never thought about what it's like for people with disabilities. I was in a hurry. I was selfish. I didn't think. Most people don't, Andrea says. How can you stand to help me? Veronica asks. After what I did? Andrea is quiet for a moment. Because holding on to anger would hurt me more than it would hurt you, she says finally. And because everyone deserves a chance to learn, to change. Veronica looks at her with red, swollen eyes. I want to change, she says. I want to be better. Then be better, Andrea says simply. Over the next 6 weeks, and Veronica comes to Andrea's clinic 3 times a week. They work on her recovery, but they also talk. Veronica learns about Andrea's life, the challenges, the daily obstacles. I never noticed how inaccessible everything is, Veronica says one day. Stairs everywhere, heavy doors, no ramps. It's like the world wasn't built for wheelchairs. It wasn't, Andrea says. Veronica starts paying attention, sees things she never saw before. People parking in handicapped spots without placards. Ramps blocked by cars. Accessible bathrooms used as storage. This is everywhere, she says, shocked. Welcome to my world, Andrea says. Veronica's ankle heals. She graduates from crutches to a walking boot, then to just a brace. On her final therapy session, she brings Andrea a gift. You didn't have to do this, Andrea says. Open it, Veronica insists. Inside is a donation receipt. Veronica made a $50,000 donation to a disability rights organization in Andrea's name. Andrea's eyes widen. Veronica, this is too much. It's not enough, Veronica interrupts, to make up for how I treated you, for how I've treated people my whole life without even realizing it. She takes a breath. I also did something else, Veronica says. I own several commercial properties. I'm retrofitting all of them to be fully accessible. Ramps, elevators, accessible, bathrooms, everything up to ADA standards and beyond. Andrea is speechless. And I'm starting a foundation, Veronica continues, to help people with disabilities afford adaptive equipment, wheelchairs, prosthetics, whatever they need. Why? Andrea asks. Because you showed me that disability isn't a tragedy, Veronica says. It's just a different way of existing. And people like you shouldn't have to fight for basic dignity every single day. Tears stream down Andrea's face. "Thank you," she whispers. "No," Veronica says. "Thank you for seeing past my cruelty, for giving me a chance to be better." 6 months later, Veronica's foundation launches. Andrea is on the board of directors. They work together to create real change, real accessibility, real inclusion. One day, they're at a ribbon-cutting ceremony for a newly renovated building. Fully accessible. Beautiful. Designed with wheelchair users in mind from the beginning. "This never would have happened without you," Veronica tells Andrea. "This happened because you chose to change," Andrea says. "I chose to change because you showed me grace," Veronica says. When I deserved anything but." They stand together. Two women from completely different worlds, united by a parking lot confrontation that could have ended in bitterness. Instead, it ended in transformation. Andrea thinks about that day often, the anger she felt, the choice she made, to help instead of hurt, to educate instead of retaliate. It would have been easier to let karma do its work and walk away. But that wouldn't have changed anything. Veronica would have gotten her ticket, her injury, her consequences, and nothing would be different. Instead, Andrea chose compassion, and that choice rippled outward, changed one person, then a building, then a foundation, then thousands of lives. Because that's what compassion does. It doesn't just heal the person who receives it. It transforms the person who gives it. And it creates waves that touch people you'll never meet, in places you'll never see, all because one person chose kindness over revenge, grace over bitterness, hope over anger. That's real power, not the power to punish, but the power to change. If this story touched you, we'd love to hear about it. Have you ever chosen compassion when you had every right to be angry? Or has someone shown you grace when you didn't deserve it? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience might inspire someone else to choose kindness today. If this moved you, please hit that like button, subscribe for more powerful stories about humanity and transformation, turn on notifications so you never miss our next upload, and share this with someone who needs to be reminded that how we treat others in their worst moments reveals who we are in ours. Thank you for choosing compassion.